Hello and welcome back to the GorillaBiker, and today we're talking about am I a dinosaur? Because I might be. You know, I want to jump right into it because sometimes I have a problem beating around the bush just a little bit too much, and I think I'm just interested to know, am I as in the minority as I feel like I sometimes am? Hey, we got it. We're getting some rain here now. Gonna be nice and wet. But yeah, so I mean, a lot of people have asked me why I've made so many videos that I kind of, you know, say that I'm not a huge fan of tech on bikes. And you know, also the Chronicles of Flinch, or Flinch Motovlogs, recently made a video where he was talking about, you know, even like navigation systems on newer Harleys and how much he likes them and whatnot. And I just, it's funny because I think I left a comment in that video saying like maybe I'm just old in my brain, but it's not something that I have ever wondered about, like, oh, you know, what's the next upgrade in navigation, what's the next upgrade on you know, like my dash or whatever else, because I don't really need that. You know, once I have a speedometer and a rev counter and preferably a fuel gauge, and then important things like if I could have oil pressure, you know, temperature, which I have on this, stuff like that, outdoor temperature, time, stuff, you know, the basics, basically everything on this dash, more than enough for me. And somewhere to mount and charge my phone definitely does help too. But I've never ever looked at, like, you know, what's the next development in power modes, what's the next development in traction control, what's the next development in navigation systems that are like permanently mounted to your bike. I will talk about nav systems in a second, you know, and I'm not completely against nav systems or anything, just ones that like you pay for that come in the dash. I think that anything that is built in is inherently easier to have go out of date, if that makes sense. You know, like if you buy a navigation system and you want to keep your bike for 20 years and it's built in, I think that makes keeping it up to date more difficult, whereas, you know, my phone is very easy to upgrade, and that's kind of why I like just being able to mount my phone pretty much to the bike, because, you know, my phone, if it does go out of date, which it will also go out of date, I can just update it, you know what I mean? I don't need to have like a situation that, hey, this is loose, let me try nip that up. Okay, maybe it's not loose. I don't need to have something that, you know, is basically going to not benefit my bike or me. You know, at some point I'm going to have to sell the bike, and if there's ancient technology on there that no one wants anymore and that doesn't really work very well anymore, because tech slows down as well, you know, it's not compatible anymore. So that's why I don't really like built-in navigation. Well, that's all I wanted to say on that one. But you know, even the rest of the stuff, like, I understand why like 6-axis IMUs and all that are good. I know why people like them. I get that. I don't personally care if they're on my bike or not, but I understand why other people do. You know, I understand that lean sensitive ABS is a good thing. You know, it's probably saved some people, but again, I don't really care if it's on my bike. The only times genuinely I have ever activated ABS is when I did it on purpose. Like today it might come in handy, who knows, because it hasn't rained. It hasn't rained in a while, so this road's going to be super slippy, which is why I'm being pretty careful and just rear braking into these corners. But you know, stuff like modern bikes being like just chock full of technology. Am I as alone as sometimes I think I am from comments, in that I don't really understand where the drive is coming from. I do understand, thanks to some people kind of opening my brain to it, and this is why I make these videos, by the way. I don't make these videos just to shit on things. I make these videos because I really do appreciate other people's viewpoints and other people's opinions. It's why I value YouTube so much, you know what I mean? And if you ever stop seeing opinions that disagree with your own, be very careful, because you're probably living in an echo chamber, and those are very dangerous. So, you know, like recently that video I made on the hybrid Kawasaki, which I've mentioned in another video as well recently, I thought that actually was very valuable for me as a person. you know, because one or two people did offer really valuable counterpoints to my kind of my question of where's the market for these. You know, not here seems to be the resounding answer, which is fair enough. But definitely other countries such as Japan and whatnot. Yeah. And I for some reason I hadn't thought about Japan. Like, I understand where a lot of smaller CC bikes are used a lot in, like, the likes of India and whatnot. Hugely popular over there, which is cool. And I'm glad all of those exist. But that's one thing that, you know, I really just couldn't figure it out. But, you know, people offered good counterpoints, opened my eyes a bit, which was cool and valuable. But yeah, basically I'm just wondering, am I a dinosaur? You know, am I as out of touch with what a lot of people want on bikes? Now, I will preface that with I probably am, because, you know, even like I prefer older cars, I prefer older bikes. Not only kind of working on them, I definitely prefer working on older stuff, but also, like, a lot of the time looks wise, and a lot of the time, you know, what their engine is. Like, I love old inline 4s, obviously I love, you know, old V4s, they're badass, and old V-twins, you know, whether that be a Harley V-twin or from somewhere else. I just think they're really cool. Like, I'd love an old S3000, TL1000R, for instance, from the kind of the twin aspect of those older bikes that I do like. What else? Yeah, Hornet 919s as well, they're really cool, stuff like that. I wonder, is it the fact that I have never particularly cared about, like, new phones and all that, and maybe it is literally just where my interests lie. I love engines, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what they're in, whether it be a car or a bike, or probably a car or bike actually, or your plane engines are pretty cool. I really don't particularly care about boat engines, but that's because I've never owned a boat, never want to own a boat, don't really like going on boats. I'm definitely a dry land human. So, oh, your brake lights are all broken except for the one in the middle of your screen, person. Should probably fix those, they're important. Snakes, they're kind of slippy around here too when it rains. A little bit of back brake, there we go. You know, like, I don't know what it is. I don't even know why I just don't care about them, but I do feel that a lot of it is that I don't feel like I need them. So if it's something that kind of excludes me from getting into something like a newer car, which it most certainly is, or even newer bikes, which in a lot of cases, what the frick? The rain turned off my navigation. That is pretty terrible there, Mr. iPhone. I don't actually know where I am, so I'll do a little stoppage here. Actually, funny enough, that is why I was going to talk about, you know, motorcycle navigation. I like doing trips, so I do like motorcycle navigation. But I would much rather go with like a Garmin or something that is upgradable, can be mounted on multiple different bikes, because obviously I own multiple bikes, rather than something built in. I don't like those tar snakes. Get out of here, tar snakes. Especially on corners, there's a lot of them. There we go. Whoa. Get up a little bit of speed, you know. But yeah, that's stuff that's kind of modular. I would more be okay with. I suppose my biggest gripe is that all this technology is often not modular, such as you know, the sat nav systems and stuff. They're all proprietary. I really don't like proprietary. And one of the coolest things that came out of that conversation about the hybrid Kawasaki was, I can't remember the person's name, but someone commenting who did bring up Japan and whatnot did say that the Japanese big four, so that's Kawasaki, Yamaha, Honda and Suzuki, apparently all plan on using the same size or style of battery pack for their electric or hybrid bikes, which are not size, like the connector style, we'll call it that. But that would be really, really, really cool, because I think that would see a little bit of, you know, them working together, and we'd probably get better technology faster, which is always a good thing, and I would not be complaining about that ever. So that's something that actually I did like out of that. But you know, when it's like Harley dashes, I'm not picking on Harleys here, but like Harley satellite navigation dashes, I have seen people with those bikes, and they have this fancy satellite navigation system. The bike's only 10 years old, which, like I've said in other videos, I consider to be pretty much new. And like it doesn't work anymore because it's pretty much out of date. And you know, they have their phone mounted in front of it then instead, which is, I mean, I would be pretty upset about that if I had to use my phone literally in front of the expensive navigation system that's supposed to do a job for me. I don't know, it's just kind of silly. I think my biggest gripe though with modern technology is just how much it's pushed up the price of bikes. You know, the entry cost for even a standard functional larger displacement bike is just so high now. If you compare it to, and I'll put up a comparison on screen, say the CB750 Nighthawk, how much that costs new in comparison to like something that would be roughly similar specs now, what that would cost new. And I hope now actually when I do look at it, like, oh, that's actually pretty similar. I'm gonna pull in here and fix my nav, but I can feel that the ground is slippy, so I'm gonna just be a careful Michael. But you know, is that something that you would all agree with, that you think that the entry level, well, the entry level for everything is too high right now, like houses, cars, bikes, and actually that's something else. Is I tried to buy a truck recently so I could transport my bikes around easier. It was a 2015 Chevrolet Silverado regular cab long bed V6, and how much I had to put down on it, it would have ended up with like a monthly payment of about $250 for the truck, but my insurance would have been $380. So obviously I am not purchasing that particular truck, sadly, because the long bed would have been really cool and would have opened up a lot of opportunities to travel around with my bikes more, just because I could have brought Toaster along much further, much quicker, and also, you know, it would have been a lot better to transport the two bikes, swap drivers over long distance, especially like crappy roads. I know a lot of people are like purists. I am personally not a fan. Oh god damn it, stop it. I am not a fan of you know, riding on really crap roads. If I can avoid them, I will. Like it was never a problem in Europe, say, because most roads do have a certain amount of twistiness to them. You know, if you have to jump on a motorway for an hour or two, you can do that. But over here, like sometimes you would have to do 20 hours on just crap roads to get somewhere. So that's definitely not something I'm interested in doing. Something I actually am interested in doing though is having a look at seeing, is it possible to you know, put Stromboli on a train and ride that train west as close to like New Mexico, Colorado as I can to visit some friends there. So that's a plan. That's why I'm doing a little bit of research on that. Hopefully it comes to pass. That would be really cool. I think it'll make a cool video too, or maybe even a little video series like, hey, how do I get over there on a train and then have fun? So that's something that hopefully I will be making too. But yeah, let me know what you think. Am I a dinosaur? Am I just a grumpy old man talking about technology that other people truly love, and I personally don't see the value in a lot of it? Like, I don't know. I probably need to like win the lotto and figure out how to build my own motorcycle company that makes simple, reliable, easy to maintain bikes. I do think not even reliability, maintenance wise, because there is a weird thing that has happened. You know, that people are like, modern motorcycles aren't reliable. They really are. Modern motorcycles are crazy reliable. You know, when problems are measured in recalls, which is generally spotted before it becomes an issue, I don't see how people can you know, talk down on manufacturers. I mean, a recall, while not ideal, it's not something that makes the bike inherently unreliable. It's a new technology. They spotted something, they want to fix it. I personally don't look down on manufacturers for doing that. In fact, I applaud them, especially if they do it themselves without something happening and people bringing it back to them. So modern motorcycles, very reliable in my opinion. But yeah, for sure, I think a lot of it is just maintenance wise. I'm a firm believer in being able to maintain your own stuff. I find it a lot more enjoyable, and not even if you can maintain it yourself. If you can't maintain it yourself, if it is simple to maintain, it means it's going to be cheaper when you bring it to the mechanic, and generally people will look after their stuff better if you know, if that stuff's cheaper. But anyway, that's all I have for this wet and miserable day now. If you watched, thank you very much for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments if you think I'm a dinosaur or if you agree. As always, a very special thank you to all of my patrons. I really do appreciate your support, and I love you all dearly. Not as much as I love my Magna or Splat or Boo, the cat and dog at home, but still quite a lot. And yeah, until next time, thanks again for watching. Adios. Outro crew. I did have a question, but I can't remember. Oh yeah, so if there is one technology you would absolutely have to have on your daily road bike, and try answer this, especially if you do ride your bike on the daily, what do you miss? Like, honestly speaking, one thing that I could use on this is cruise control, but at the same time I have never once been like, oh, I really wish I had cruise control. You know, it's never bothered me. I've never had a cramp so bad or whatever that I had to you know, really just be sad that I don't have it. But I also do think I'm more immune to like handlebar vibrations and cramps than other people. It might just be because I'm larger. I don't know. Maybe the gripping a wider bar relative to your hand size is harder on people. I have no idea. But yeah, let me know, what's one technology you could not live without? Bye, outro crew.